Right. What is the connection between Gordon Ramsay personal branding and trends and future of personal branding? Well, the answer is in today's guest. We have with us Henry Wong. Welcome to Luxury Unplugged Podcast. I'm your host Neeti Keswani, and today we are diving straight into rapid fire questions with a personal branding coach, Mr. Henry Wong. Now, he has been involved in so many branding opportunities with so many big MNCs. Now he's working on an instant ramen brand with Gordon Ramsay and helping entrepreneurs craft their personal brands. Welcome, Henry, to Luxury Unplugged Podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really happy to spend some time with you.
Awesome. So, Henry, we have so many questions regarding personal branding for you, because this is a topic that we have touched in so many podcasts, and everybody has an amazing view of what needs to be done and what is trending currently. So, launching an instant ramen brand with Gordon Ramsay, what is the biggest lesson learned?
Biggest lesson learned, I would say, is simply knowing who your brand stands for and what people can expect. So, the brand around Gordon Ramsay, this line called Chef Ramsay, is now launched in the market. But I think people will gravitate to it based on really his personality, based on his heightened level of cuisine. And that's what we really bring to the table with the ramen itself.
And you tend to talk about your story starting on the back of a Chinese restaurant. What's that all about?
I think that's where I honed my storytelling skills. So, like many immigrant families that come to the country, I grew up in the back of a business that my parents ran, and from there I grew and had opportunity to work the front of the house of the restaurant. And I found out very quickly that if I told jokes and told stories, that became an impetus for people to give me higher tips. So that became sort of the foray into a lot of storytelling, which I believe is really the heart of most good brands.
Right, right. So tell us, Henry, what do you think? How can we use personal branding? One tip that could really enhance any startup entrepreneur right now.
It's really being able to hone in on your story. So I've worked many years within the advertising business with many large ad agencies. So the principles I'm advocating really are the same things that big brands apply to their products and services, which is really to center on what your key message is. And that really comes from establishing what your story is. So any entrepreneur coming into the business of selling their product needs to focus quite a bit on what they're all about, what their story is all about.
Right, right. And what is one branding myth that you think that, people should stop believing in?
If I go on social media and I get a million followers, I have a good brand. In reality, that's not true. You simply have a lot of people who have connected with you. And I equate it very much like a magazine or a newspaper. You may have a million subscribers to your magazine, but it doesn't mean everybody will be influenced by what you're publishing in that magazine or follow exactly what you do. So the idea of social media really should be to connect to the right people, the right audience, your customers, as opposed to everybody out there. It doesn't guarantee success just by having a large following.
So when you talk about, standing for something and telling your story, of course, these days personal branding is linked to having a good social brand. And obviously it requires a lot of followers also. But then what is the missing link that people should look in rather than, missing out and thinking that, okay, I have so many followers, I have got so many posts on, I should be good.
hmm
What is that
yeah,
link?
it's much more than that. It's being able to stand for something. And this is really the heart of most brands and most successful ad campaigns that you have a position in the market. So whether you're selling air conditioners or perfume or simply just being a personality, you need to stand for something. And that is hopefully what will connect with the audience. Once the audience understands that, they decide whether they will continue to be influenced by you or continue to follow you and watch your posts and look at the engaging material that you put online.
So just on the heels of that question, the burning question perhaps that is there in so many followers, social media influencers and followers is that, we are struggling with engagement. So what is the secret to turning that audience that is right there into a community, into a well-connected community?
I think it really comes back to standing for something. Again, what is the reason for what you're putting out there? A lot of people think that simply by putting material out there, by putting content out there, it'll be enough. Hopefully, you might get lucky and you'll get someone to follow. But you have to be consistent. So stay true to what you're trying to put out there and consistently do it over and over and over again. And you'll find that niche that people will begin to gravitate to. So the most popular influencer in the world, as you can imagine, is Mr. Beast right now. It
Absolutely.
took him 400 posts before any of his videos went viral, but he stuck to exactly what he wanted to do, and he was true to really what his endeavor was and what he was looking to share with the world. And by being consistent, by being true to what he's all about, I think he eventually gravitated to the people that began following him by the millions.
True, true. So do you think that there is an emotional connect in personal branding? There is a portion of emotional intelligence that plays a role in personal branding when you're trying to build a powerful brand?
Yeah, very much so. That emotional connection is really your ability to connect well with your audience, connect with your customer. Many times we think of the way we buy things, and we often rationalize it by making a very linear decision. I'd like to get this cell phone because it has more memory. But in fact, what we are looking for is that emotional pull that comes from it. And that goes from everything from perfume through to technology. We're looking for a way to satisfy a certain emotional need. So if you can tap into that through your content, through the way you connect people with the brand, then you come closer to being able to have them come on as a fan. It's really lightening them up, livening up with everything that you're presenting to them that will hopefully connect with them. And that's where the emotion comes in.
True, true. So in terms of these days in 2025 and onwards, it is the era of AI generated content. Do you agree?
Very much so. It doesn't necessarily mean it's a good thing, but it's certainly the tools that are available. Right now, we're seeing a backlash in social media with brands that create content by using AI because it doesn't
True,
look genuine, it doesn't look authentic. The
true.
most influential people are the ones that we see who are often micro influencers, and this isn't AI generated material. It's just people honestly sharing their views. They like something, to share it with their fans, and people begin to be motivated by that. It's a little bit harder when you create it artificially. There are certain tools, of course, you can make use of that will help you, but to generate that sort of content at this point, it's still a little quite artificial in that way, and that's a key word out of the AI, artificial.
Right. But I slightly differ from your standpoint in
Mm-hmm.
this case because I feel that AI has also proven to, you know, give us so many benefits in terms of not only for the micro influencers but also for the big brands. Apps like InVideo who are helping big companies and small with the quick videos that you can generate and the quality and the availability of free pics and the free characters that you can develop. There's so much of more storytelling that you can do perhaps with one single person now rather than
Mm-hmm.
having a huge team. So it's cutting the cost as well
Yeah,
to have.
no, I don't disagree with that at all. What I am seeing though is the way people are reacting to it. So as AI gets better, it'll be more and more difficult to tell the difference. I was reading a story recently about a number of scams that have been able to use deep fake to imitate voices so that you may be in fact be fooled that it's your grandmother calling as opposed to a AI generated
That
voice.
is
So it's
scary.
it's it's getting better and better, but scarier and scarier at the same time. So
Mhm.
what we may end up finding is AI versus AI putting out content and AI determining if it's something you should pay attention to or not.
Yes,
That's really where the algorithm is. It will determine whether in the future you should pay attention to it or not.
right. So, tell us, Henry, about your experience at Saatchi and Saatchi. How did it shape your branding philosophy, and perhaps one branding principle that you would like to talk about?
I think a lot of it really came from working on some major brands like Toyota, like Procter and Gamble, and there was a very disciplined approach to creating a brand. Often we think of a brand simply as I need to get out there, I need to have a lot of followers, I need to have a presence, and it's not enough simply to make noise, but it's the most important thing is being able to have a correct position amongst your everything out there, to have that right messaging. And I think that discipline of being able to have that type of messaging has influenced everything that I've done. What I did learn quite well was in order, you can make a claim, but you have to have what's referred to as a reason to believe, meaning that if I tell you I'm the greatest writer in the world, I need to be able to prove that. It isn't simply enough to make a statement, but you need that reason to believe, you need the support. And that's what a lot of products do. So it may make a claim and people may believe it, but you need the backing, you need the experience or the endorsements to be able for people to believe what you're telling them.
Absolutely, absolutely. But looking into what you are telling and looking at the stats and something also that people, huge social media influencers like Gary Vee, they are putting up. They're saying that it's the time to go organic in terms of social media, creating content that is really genuine to you, that is really genuine to what you stand for, and also not spending that much on the ad budget. What do you think
Mhm.
about
Yeah,
that?
I mean, having managed many campaigns through Google, through Meta, and that, it is very much in the favor of the platforms, meaning they constantly encourage you to spend more. And it's very difficult to compete against big brands. So if you're a small player amongst many others, you will never have the budget to do that. So the best you can do is really find a way to connect with people, and what you're referring to is that sort of organic growth that comes from just creating authentic content that isn't um, meaningful to everybody, but meaningful to the right people that you're looking to appeal to. So, with that in mind, you may need to put some minor money towards it to align your audience, but at the same time, it's very easy to blow your budget, spend a lot of money, and get very little results. So the key really is to find those opportunities and look for where you should be fishing, where your target is, so that you could appeal to them in a more finite way and control your budget.
True, true. Um, so you have written a book, and your book is about finding your superpower, is it?
Yeah, that's one of the chapters in the book. So my whole thesis behind the book is really about helping people determine how to center on what their story is and how to tell it. So there's a number of exercises through it that allow people to understand what they're all about. Because before you can put out your brand in the marketplace or put out there, whether it's at the workplace or in the public, you really need to understand what you're all about. One of the exercises asks people to determine what their superpower is. And that's really another way of saying a value proposition, meaning what do I do better? What is the how am I bigger, stronger, faster than someone else? That could be, in essence, your superpower. By understanding that, you can begin to put out an element and know where you can be superior to the competition. And from that, you can begin building, hopefully, elements of the story. So a lot of that really comes together in forming the essence of what your brand narrative can be.
Right, right. Now, let's come to the theme of Luxury Unplugged podcast, which is luxury blending with spirituality, right? So we are trying to talk to people as well as put up episodes on unfiltered journeys, extraordinary lives of individuals. We're trying to cover that through our storytelling and through the interviews that we are conducting.
Mm-hmm.
People who have, either they are achieving greatness or they are doing it right now in whatever passions they are following. So tell us something about your work experiences, some success story that sort of made you think that I need to have a good, sane mindset as long as I am following my, dream of being an entrepreneur and things like that.
Mhm. I think that there's an interesting element of spirituality that should always come into everything that we do.
Hmm.
And it's not being preachy, but I started this new company I have 7 years ago.
Hmm.
And when I started it, I set out to only work with companies that wanted to have an impact on the world, a positive effect on our planet, on our society, on other people. And I thought at that time it would actually curtail the amount of business I would take on. In fact, the opposite happened where I attracted more business because there are many people out there, many companies looking to align with the same sort of belief system that I have. So I think the lesson for me really is that you should always stay true to what your purpose is for running the company, for why you exist, and why you should be selling your product and have that as an authentic thread that runs throughout. And I found that that helped me with quite a bit of the type of new business development that I was looking to gain. And personally, it was satisfying because I didn't have to compromise my own belief system, but I was able to work within what I truly believed in and had people aligned, not only from the team I hired and the people I brought in, but also the clients who came aboard it as well.
So I guess spirituality has played a role in your life, in your professional life as well. Not to only keep you sane, but also to have the right people on board, isn't it?
Very much so. I mean, a side story on a personal note. I'm not sure I was that influential, but I'm very proud of my own son who's going through his journey right now. He's traveling through Thailand right now on his way to enter a monastery to become a Buddhist monk. So,
Wow.
many people dream of their child becoming a doctor or a lawyer. I'm very pleased and I'm proud that I have this young man who has embraced a certain view on life, and it's wonderful to see because there's happiness attached to it as opposed to just going for a goal.
Well, that's very intriguing and surprising, and I don't know what words to say, but coming from your kind of personality and your kind of background, working with the advertising agencies,
Very different,
hardcore
yes.
professional life, you encouraging that kind of lifestyle for your son. How did that transformation happen for you as well?
For me, I think it's always been the center of everything I've believed in, and it was, surprisingly not so much a spiritual awakening as it was perhaps a little bit more of a literary awakening. So when I was back in school, I one of the assigned readings was Siddhartha by Hermann Hesse, and
Mhm.
it opened my eyes in terms of another way of looking at life, and it just made me hungrier for more material and more understanding of the world out there. But it's helped guide a lot of principles in the way I conduct myself and the way I conduct business. And I don't think the two are mutually exclusive. That you can thrive as an enterprise and still be true to very genuine beliefs.
It is really beautiful that people that I'm interviewing these days, right from Madonna's dancing coach to people in the corporate to CIOs and CEOs, everybody sort of has that thread of spirituality in some way. They are following it,
Oh,
whether
that's
they are
wonderful to
doctors,
hear.
whether they are doctors or not. I recently interviewed a lady who has been in NICU, and she had a very pressing job with three kids and a life of, always emergencies and special cases. And still, she said that I was sort of, following my spirituality, and Christianity is what she follows, and she could sail through that. So, sort of faith, I guess, plays a very important role. Whether I'm not trying to be preachy, but I just feel that it has really played a big role in so many people's lives.
I think so. I think there has to be much more than just profit and losses, and I think there needs to be a motivating factor. So whether you're, entering into entrepreneurship for yourself or your family, there is a certain amount of satisfaction. Beyond that, there is another level that I think brings a certain higher degree of satisfaction, and that is having an impact on someone in a positive way. And that often comes from a spiritual sense, I find.
Beautiful. That's true. So true. So, wow, what an incredible conversation today. And before we wrap up, this is for you viewers. Do like and subscribe and share this video with your friends who might find value in personal branding and the topics that we covered today in luxury and spirituality. Because in this video, we have explored the power of curiosity in building a brand, what goes behind it, what are the storytelling techniques, and perhaps what is the emotional factor for the people that they should focus on. And it's not about only high profile influencers, although they do play a very important role. It's about clarity, it's about authenticity. So, thank you so much, Henry, for your time today. We've had amazing conversation and look forward to many more.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been terrific.
Yeah, lovely, lovely having you. All right.